been almost 10 years since Rihanna dropped a new album. No tour, no fresh music, no hints. Since that January release back in 2016, the world's most awaited album has practically turned into a running gag among fans as silence, so deafening and morphed into a cultural phenomenon all its own. But here's the twist. While she went quiet on the music front, Rihanna was busy building something else entirely. In those same 10 years of musical silence, she quietly became a billionaire.
So say goodbye to my pretty makeup. But who needs makeup for bed? Not people with good skin, I'll tell you that much.
And here's what makes it so fascinating: none of that fortune came from the usual sources. Not streaming money, not a comeback tour, not even selling off her music catalog. Instead, the wealth came from somewhere no one expected. A beauty empire she co-founded alongside the biggest luxury conglomerate on the planet, plus a lingerie label that has now blown past $1 billion in valuation. By 2023, her fortune had climbed to a staggering $1.4 billion, officially crowning her the richest female musician the world has ever seen.
I hung out in the art department and I had my first fashion show. It was a jumpsuit, of course, cold shoulders, very slanted.
And remarkably, none of it happened because of her music. It happened despite her not releasing any. So here's the real question worth asking. Was that decade of silence just an accident? A case of creative burnout? Personal choice? Or was it actually the smartest business move of her entire career? Because when you dig into the actual numbers, the answer isn't what most people would guess. The financial empire she was quietly constructing while fans kept waiting for that mythical ninth album turns out to be one of the most brilliant celebrity business strategies of the past 2 decades. This isn't really a music story. It's a business story. And it all traces back to a single decision that almost nobody talks about. Here's how it typically works when a celebrity launches a beauty brand. There's a standard playbook the industry follows. The celebrity licenses out their name to a manufacturing and distribution company.
Like I get so upset when I have to leave a hotel room with flowers in it.
Oh no.
In exchange for that, celebrities usually collect a royalty, generally somewhere between 5 and 15% of net sales. It's a nice paycheck, sure, but it's not the kind of deal that turns someone into a billionaire. Rihanna played it differently. When she launched Fenty Beauty in 2017, she skipped the royalty route entirely. Instead, she pushed for a 50% ownership stake in a joint venture with LVMH Moët Hennessy Louis Vuitton, the biggest luxury goods empire on the planet. This wasn't a licensing deal or a royalty check. It was true co-ownership, a company she and LVMH would build side by side together. Now look at the numbers. Fenty Beauty pulled in $450 million in revenue by 2024. The gap between taking a 5% royalty versus holding a 50% equity stake on that kind of revenue isn't some minor detail, it's massive. A 5% cut of $450 million comes out to roughly $22 million. But owning half of a company generating that same revenue, valued at typical beauty industry multiples, translates into hundreds of millions of dollars in equity value.
Is it Rihanna or Rihanna?
Rihanna. I say Rihanna, but Rihanna is still okay.
That's not just a minor tweak, it's the difference between building a career and building a company, between earning income and creating actual wealth, between being a famous face and becoming a billionaire. Had Rihanna gone with a standard 5% royalty deal, she'd have ended up wealthy, sure. But it was that 50% ownership stake that pushed her into billionaire territory. Still, the deal structure alone doesn't explain a $4 billion impact. The product itself had to deliver. And how it delivered ended up reshaping an entire industry. Before Fenty Beauty hit shelves in September 2017, most major beauty brands offered foundation lines with somewhere between 12 and 20 shade options. That range was built on an assumption shared by nearly every major player across a $500 billion global beauty market that the real money was in customers with medium skin tones.
The walk-in sucks, actually. Hi.
Fenty Beauty flipped that script from day one, launching with 40 shades. And this wasn't some clever marketing gimmick. It was baked into the actual product lineup. 40 foundation shades, available worldwide, priced within reach, and marketed to every skin tone at once, right out of the gate. The beauty industry had 4 decades of sales data telling them that darker-skinned customers weren't worth prioritizing. Fenty Beauty shattered that assumption in just 40 days. The brand pulled in $100 million in revenue within its first month and a half, and it was the darkest shades that flew off the shelves first. Turns out the industry hadn't been avoiding an unprofitable market at all. They'd simply been overlooking a hugely profitable one because nobody had ever actually bothered to check. Within a year, giants like MAC, L'Oreal, Maybelline, and Estee Lauder had all scrambled to broaden their own shade ranges. There's even a name for what happened, the Fenty effect.
The biggest launch we've had in the brand since the brand had launched.
This is exactly what separates Fenty Beauty from just another celebrity vanity project. She didn't stumble onto this market gap by chance. She walked into a Sephora store, studied the foundation shelf, and spotted something that honestly should have been obvious to every beauty brand that had been in business for decades. Women and men with darker skin tones absolutely buy foundation, they just couldn't find shades that actually matched them. So she created 40 that did. That $100 million in 40 days wasn't simply a byproduct of Rihanna's celebrity status. It happened because she'd identified a genuine structural blind spot in the market. Her fame got customers through the door, but it was the product itself that kept them coming back. And that's when LVMH's machine kicked into gear. It's worth breaking down exactly how this joint venture functioned, because LVMH's role in Fenty Beauty's success is consistently underestimated. Rihanna brought the brand identity, the creative direction, her massive audience, and sharp market insight. What she couldn't provide on her own, though, was a worldwide retail network, the manufacturing partnerships needed to produce 40 foundation shades at full scale from launch day, or the logistics muscle to meet demand across 35 countries at once. That's where LVMH stepped in with all of it. When Fenty Beauty debuted, it hit Sephora shelves in 35 countries simultaneously on the very same day. That's simply not something a startup could ever pull off alone. It was the payoff of decades of LVMH's investment in retail partnerships, distribution networks, and supply chain systems spanning every major beauty market on Earth. This partnership handed Rihanna something no social media following could ever replace: the power to put an actual physical product into the hands of customers globally, immediately, rather than rolling it out slowly market by market. This is exactly why the joint venture mattered beyond just the ownership percentage. Yes, the 50% stake was the financial headline, but it was LVMH's operational firepower that gave that financial stake its real value.
This year's collection is broken down into 4 major parts, starting with Dear Diary.
Realistically, Rihanna could have launched this brand completely on her own. The product was solid enough to stand on its own 2 feet, and her audience was massive enough to support it. But the sheer scale of the launch, the fact that it hit shelves in 35 countries at the exact same moment, sitting inside Sephora stores worldwide on September 8, 2017, that was all LVMH's doing. Without that machinery behind her, there's no way she hits $100 million in just 40 days at that kind of speed. So this deal was never about Rihanna seeking approval or validation from some luxury powerhouse. It was a genuine mutual partnership, a strong brand asset paired with a world-class operational engine.
Hello. Hi, how are you? Pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Thank you.
What were you saying to...
Each side brought something the other side genuinely needed. And for the first several years, that combination outperformed what either party could have achieved alone. Which is exactly what makes what unfolded in October 2025 so significant. Before we dive into the cracks that started forming in this empire, it's worth pausing on a side of Rihanna's success that pure financial numbers tend to undersell. Fenty Beauty isn't just a makeup line, it's become an identity brand. When people buy it, they're not just picking up a foundation or a lipstick. They're aligning themselves with a particular aesthetic, a specific cultural viewpoint, a certain vision of beauty that Rihanna herself embodies.
First started off with being the endorser of brands and just lending my likeness and my face.
If Rihanna ever does drop her 9, the album fans have been anticipating for nearly 10 years now, it won't just be a music release. It'll be a cultural event of the highest magnitude. Think shattered streaming records, wall-to-wall media coverage, and marketing goldmine for Fenty Beauty and Savage X Fenty that no advertising budget on earth could ever buy. A music comeback, in her case, doubles as a full-blown business launch simultaneously. The opportunity cost math that kept her out of the studio for an entire decade made perfect sense back when Fenty Beauty was still in its growth phase.
Matchsticks, who said it? Yes, you're right. The packaging is one of my favorite things about this.
At this turning point the business has now reached, music might not be the thing she's sacrificing for the brand anymore. It can actually be the very thing that reignites it. And that's not just a sentimental thought, that's a genuine brand lever that literally no other CEO on the planet has access to. Final thoughts. Here's what Rihanna was truly doing that entire time everyone sat around waiting for the album. She walked into a negotiation with one of the most powerful luxury companies in the world and flat out rejected the standard offer. She asked for 50%, and she got it. She spotted a gap in a $500 billion industry one every major brand had overlooked for decades and filled it before any of them could even react. Then she took that exact same playbook and applied it to a second industry, building yet another billion-dollar company from scratch. She performed for free at the Super Bowl and turned over 100 million viewers into a captive product marketing audience, all without spending a single dollar on advertising.
I am going to do my makeup for you guys. All of you Vogue readers and you Vogue bloggers.
It looks like this last piece is a quote from Rihanna herself, dropped in mid-thought probably about the chaos of red carpet events and how that experience inspired her to create the foundation.
You go to red carpet and 5,000 pictures later, you're like, what happened? So I made this foundation just...
It all traces back to that moment she sat across the table from LVMH and made it clear she wasn't settling for anything less than an equal share. Because at the end of the day, the album was never really the point. The album was never the true asset. The equity was.